Hi guys, this is Ivan Viljoen for the 220 at 220generation.com. We are busy with a series called Youth Ministry 101, and in this session I want to talk about establishing an identity for your youth ministry. Why do you want to do that? The idea is to have an identity so that kids could promote your ministry via word of mouth. I got involved with a couple ministries where there's no real name for the youth ministry, and there's no real color to it, and there's nothing really anything to it, which makes it very difficult for your kids to latch onto your vision and your dream. See, if you're just a youth group with no name and no identity, it's difficult for the kids to get involved because they don't know what you're really about. But you have a name and you have a logo, and these are all stuff that sounds corporate and marketing strategy, and that's exactly that. You want kids to talk about your youth ministry. You want them to promote your youth ministry. You want them to know, listen, on Friday I'm going to the 220, I'm going to HIF, not just I'm going to youth. That's how most people talk. That's how most kids are about their youth group. But they should be proud about where they go, what they do there, and how they are involved. How do you establish an identity for your youth ministry? Well, I think the most important thing is you should get a name for your youth ministry. Remember that we are still in the planning stages of your youth ministry. As soon as I said, listen, now everything is go, then we start working and we start talking about leadership and the program and how you make the whole thing, the mechanics of the thing, how you make it work. The name is very important. You should choose a name for your ministry. It could be anything, but there are a couple guidelines that I want to give you. It should be original. Original, I mean, it shouldn't be a name that you heard from a youth ministry in Cape Town. It shouldn't be the same name as a club in East London. It should not be the same thing. Why? Because kids will be confused when they use the name, and other kids when they hear today. I'm trying to establish this name of this ministry and this website, the 220. If kids talk about, if they hear 220, they should know. It's Ivan Viljoen's ministry. It's equipping young people for revival and for youth ministry. And that's what my ministry is all about. So when you hear 220, that is what it's all about. And that's what it should be. You don't want your youth ministry to be confused with another youth ministry. That's basically. The franchise idea is a good idea. For instance, there's a lot of franchises. I have one myself. It's House of Fire. The other one is 180 in America, where they have a franchise. What is a franchise? Does it benefit anyone? Well, a franchise basically is the same concept as everything else. What are the benefits? There's one congruent policy that goes right through. ANC, the ANC has a policy that they drive from the top level to the NEC, right through to government and the local government, and they take the whole policy of the ANC right through the whole country. That's how the ANC works, and that's how your youth group should work as well. The systems are the same because it's been tried and tested by the father or the organizer or the main guy of the franchise. Because the systems work, you want to incorporate it right through the whole ministry. Right through. If you have a branch in Cape Town, if you have a branch, franchises are good in that respect. There's an umbrella. In other words, there are support for you. Youth pastors can support each other. There's support in the form of resources and ideas and that kind of thing. The admin systems. There's an admin system right through that helps you sort out all the stuff. Admin is to know the birthdays of your kids. Have their email address, you can email them. You can contact with them. Share your blog with them. All that kind of stuff. It's admin systems. Also, when my kids get to the door, we have what I call a guest list. The kids come to the front, they put their name, their address, the school if we need that, their phone number, their cell number, and all that kind of stuff. I use that through the admin system to make the ministry work, to promote it and to help to get in contact with everything. There's also uniformity, which is for some people it's not a good thing, but it could be beneficial if you have the franchise approach to your youth ministry. Basically, it's about a working recipe that's used right through all the different branches that brings results. That's what it's for. If not a franchise, of course, choose a unique name. How do I choose it? Well, it should be God inspired. It should be inspired by God. How do I get that God inspired name for my youth ministry? God will, if you do a couple things, God will give you a name that is dedicated for your specific youth ministry. It is your movement. It is what God called you for, and you will attract kids because the kids, don't be fooled. The kids that come to your youth ministry, God sent them there. There's no other way to look at it. They are there to help you. Your personalities come together. The kids that don't belong there, they'll come once, twice, maybe 3 times, maybe a month or 2. But they'll fall out because they don't fit there and belong there. Yes, we want to reach everybody, but there's a divine plan that God has. How do I get that inspired, God-inspired name? This is how. Seek God's face. How do I do that, Ivan? Well, it's simple. The Bible teaches you, and you should know that. Pray, fast, and study the Bible. That is how you find the God's inspired name for your youth ministry. God will give you a name. It will be God inspired, and it will be in line with God's vision and ministry for your life. The name could come in different forms. It could be an acronym. An acronym is letters that is derived from a name. For instance, House of Fire, our acronym is HOF. Or House of Fire is also broken down in an acronym which means heart, outreach, unity, servanthood, outreach, fire, indigenous, and excitement. That's the acronym for House of Fire. But it could also be letters, HOF. There's a lot of people. It could be a normal acronym like CC2 or I don't know, something like that. It could also be numbers like the 220. What happens if we have numbers? There's a lot of ministries that use numbers. Here's how it works. It could be from Scripture. 220 is Galatians 2:20. We are crucified with Christ. Nevertheless, we live, yet not we, but Christ lives within us. There's also a hip-hop group called the 116, where Lecrae is involved in. Lecrae is also in tight with the cross movement. They are called 116, Romans 1:16. We are not ashamed of the gospel of Christ because it is the power of God unto salvation. You could have a normal name. Also, try and get that name derived or inspired by Scripture. For instance, Urban Oak, they are a Rhema's youth, big, very progressive youth ministry. They take their name from We Are Oaks of Righteousness. Also, tithe changes. 1 or 2 words your youth ministry could be. 180, usually it's 1 or 2 words, but usually not more than that. Why? Because you want the ministry to roll off the tongue, must be marketable, easy to put on flyers, and as soon as your ministry grows momentum and kids start talking about it, it's easier to put out flyers and promote your ministry, that kind of stuff. Very important. Your name should be as short as possible. It should roll off the tongue. It should not be anything close to anybody else's youth ministry. What happens is then you develop something it's a street name, it has street credit, and it's spoken about all over. And if you incorporate all the elements of the meeting that I taught you, and you take the venue and you design it the way that I told you, the platform and all the stuff that you put into, it will be a great place for kids to go to hang out. Your youth ministry will be successful, it will be fun, people will want to go there, and that is when your name will roll off tongues like nothing on earth. And there's no marketing like word of mouth. Anybody will tell you that. This is Ivan for the 220 at 220generation.com.